Hello, it's 6:41 p.m. on November the 15th, 2020. And the title of this is To Expect the Unexpected, Washington State. Now, this is the first time I've ever read a proclamation from a governor from the state of Washington. Let me flip this around. Governor Jay Inslee, governor of Olympia, he's in Olympia, Washington, has just issued a proclamation amending proclamations 20-5, 20-5. Stay safe. Look at this. Stay safe, stay healthy. Rollback of county by county phased reopening, responding to you know what. So if you are in Washington State, then you heard the news conference today that you have further restrictions being implemented on you due to the health crisis that we are facing globally. Yes. And I think it's good that we spread this information about what's happening in the world. It is very good, and it's okay to spread information as you do it in a meaningful and very informative way. Psychic medium Jason, I'm not surprised that I'm frozen. I want to be unfrozen, okay? I really do want to be unfrozen. I don't want them to freeze this because this is important. It is really, really important. I got to roll up my sleeves for this. So we've heard that it's going to be a you-know-what type of winter. And you can take that spiritually. When they say it's going to be a dark winter, I think in the spiritual sense, okay? Because, people do, I just think of spiritual darkness, okay? So dark winter, I'll think automatically a spiritual darkness, okay? So, so this is what it says. I, Jay Inslee, governor of the state of Washington, as a result of the above noted situation, and under Chapter 38.8, 3852, 4306 RCW, do proclaim and order a state of an emergency. It continues in all counties of Washington state. And then he goes, except as otherwise provided in orders, Safe Start Washington phase, reopening, blah, blah, blah. So pursuant. So now is the list are the prohibitions that are set forth. So now there's things that are going to be. Spain has checkpoints, and you must show your health papers when traveling. Wow. So it's going to spread globally. It is. I know that we had to show our shot records and stuff whenever we flew overseas. We had to have our papers. That's for immunizations like that in the military. You better have all your ducks in a row or you don't enter the country. Now, I do remember that. Okay, but this is really interesting with the modifications to existing prohibitions. It says indoor social gatherings with people from outside of your household are prohibited unless they quarantine for 14 days prior to social gathering. Or you can quarantine for 7 days prior to the social gathering and receive a negative COVID-19 test result no more than 48 hours prior to the gathering. A household is defined as individuals residing in the same domicile. Yes. So let me flip this around. Outdoor gatherings shall be limited to 5 people from outside your household. Restaurants and bars are closed for indoor dining. Outdoor dining and to-go services are permitted, but they have to comply. And table size for outdoor dining is limited to 5 people. This takes effect on Wednesday, the 18th of 2020. So if you're in Washington State, I hope you are preparing. Fitness facilities and gyms are closed for indoor. You can exercise outdoor in classes, and you can go outside and you can exercise within the pouring down rain and the snow. You absolutely can. You can do that. As long as you're distanced. Isn't that wonderful? We can go outside and we can exercise in the hail, sleet, freezing rain, and snow. We can do that if you're in Washington State. Bowling centers are closed. All retail activities and businesses meetings are prohibited. Only professional training can be done remotely. And indoor, 25% of indoor occupancy limits to 100 people. Miscellaneous venues, convention, conferences, all of them, they're closed. Movie theaters, closed. Museums, closed. Well, what about, I really miss the museums. I really do. I love going to museums, and I don't think it's nice to not be able to see the beautiful artwork that enriched us as a humanity as a whole. I don't think that's very nice. I don't want my history erased. I don't. Let's look at this. Real estate, open houses are prohibited. Well, I would say that you could have an open house if you were selling your house to a member of your own household. Yeah, weddings and funerals, ceremonies are limited to no more than 30 people, indoor reception, wakes, and similar gatherings. In-store retail are limited to 25% indoor occupancy limits, and common congregate seating areas, indoor dining facilities such as food courts are closed. Well, now wait a minute. What happens? Oh yeah, this says 41 people watching and 14 thumbs up. Right when I looked at it. So that's the good numbers, 14 and 41. Let's look at this, you all. Religious services limited to 25% of the occupancy. Vocal and instrumental soloists are permitted to perform, and vocal soloists may have a single accompanist. Now they're going to tell you, well, they told you can't have more than 200 people, and you cannot have a choir or a band or ensemble during the service. Vocal or instrumental soloists are permitted. Okay, so you cannot, if you are in the church choir, I just want to tell you, if you are in Washington State, you are not prohibited. You are not permitted to sing now. You cannot sing from your heart in your choir. It is prohibited. That's a big no. You cannot do that. That's what he said. That's what the governor said by proclamation. Absolutely. So professional services are required to mandate that employees work from home when possible and close offices if possible, and limit well, what happens, there are people who cannot work from home. There are people whose companies don't have the resources to send their people home with computers and stuff. They don't, so those companies are going to go under. Okay, because they don't have the manpower, they don't have the extra resources to send the people home to work from home, because their businesses really do rely on it. They do. So personal services, long-term care facilities, outdoor visits are permitted. Indoor visits are prohibited, but the individual exceptions for an essential support person or end-of-life care is permitted. So you can be an essential support person and or an end-of-life care, but you have to do the outdoor visits. So I would not want my loved one in a nursing home. I would not, and I feel very sorry for the people who have spouses in there, the people who have family members in there who are going through rehabilitation. When they, because they have facilities like that too, rehab facilities in there, and I think it's awful that you can only look at them through the glass doors, or you pick up the phone and they'll look out the window and you can talk through them like that. I think that's it's sad. It is sad, and I don't like it. We can express our dislike. We can. It's okay. And they've got their proclamation, yeah, they're in the position to issue proclamations. They are. Youth and adult sporting activities, contest games are prohibited. Outdoor activities limited to intra-team practices only. Furthermore, with this Washington State Department of Health, in furtherance of physical, mental, and economic well-being, I will continue to analyze the data and epidemiological modeling and adjust the guidance. For the furtherance of your physical and your mental and your economic well-being, Well, wait a minute. What's it doing to it right now? What has it been doing to it since it started? Yeah, I don't think it's been healing. I really don't think it's been healing at all. In fact, I think it's causing more harm than the actual issue at hand. I really, really do. And I may get in trouble for being on here reading that, but it's okay. It is all right. It's good to stand up for a good cause. It is. It is good to stand up and speak up while you got the opportunity. And it is important. If you're in Washington State and you didn't know that, you are going on lockdown come November the 18th of 2020. And you cannot have people over for your Thanksgiving dinners unless, if they're outside your household, unless they self-quarantine for 14 days and or prior to your gathering of Thanksgiving meal, and or 7 days and a negative result from a COVID-19 test. And you ain't going to have no people over if you wanted to adhere to the strict guidelines that are set forth by the proclamation of the governor of Washington State. You will not be having visitors. If you want to be a strict follower of that, you need to know what's going on. You do. Absolutely. Travel advisory for all non-essential travel issued on November the 13th. Persons arriving in Washington State and other countries, you have to self-quarantine for 14 days. You're encouraged not to travel outside your state or counties. So there you have it. And he's also going to order into active state the state service, the organized militia of Washington State, to include the National Guard and the State Guard, or such part thereof as be necessary in the opinion of the Adjutant General to address the circumstances described above, to perform such duties as directed by the competent authority of the Washington State Military Department in addressing the outbreak. Additionally, he'll continue to direct all of these, the Department of Health, the State Military Department Emergency Management Division, and other agencies, to identify an appropriate consultation. Okay, now we're going to get to what happens if you violate this. If you violate this proclamation, you're going to be in trouble. Okay, that's what it says. You're going to be in trouble. That's just like, you do something wrong, as you do something you're not supposed to do. If you're a child, and your parents tell you not to do something and you do it, you get yourself in trouble. Well, now, by order of proclamation, here's what's going to happen to you if you disobey and you're caught disobeying. I'm going to read it to you. Violators of this order may be subject to criminal penalties pursuant RCW 43.06.220 Further, if people fail to comply with the required social distancing and other protective measures while engaging in this phased reopening, I may be forced to reinstate the prohibitions established in earlier proclamations. Unless extended or amended upon expiration or termination of this amendatory proclamation, the provisions of Proclamation 2025 will continue to be in effect until the state emergency issued on February the 29th, 2020 pursuant Proclamation 25 is rescinded. Okay, unless extended or amended upon expiration or termination of this amendatory. So what this is saying right here, all of this, what is in this proclamation will stay in effect until the state of emergency that was issued here is rescinded. So this is long term right here. All of this is long term right here. If you're in Washington State, welcome to your future. It's long term, and I've heard that you may have to. I heard that we may have to wear masks up into 2022. That's what they said. So there's your proclamation. Yeah. And like I said, I've never read a proclamation. Proclamation is a big word. It really is. It sounds pretty important. Yeah. And I did watch part of an interview with Dr. Fauci, and he was being interviewed by this other man, and they were sitting 10 feet apart or 20 feet apart. And he asked him, he said, is there much that you don't know about this vaccine? And Dr. Fauci said, oh, there's a lot that we don't, or so much that we don't know about this vaccine. That's what he said. And he said, but that's okay. He goes, he's got a group, he trusts the people who are doing the research, and people should be trustworthy of it because he is also overlooking, him and his colleague are overlooking their, whatever they research, they overlook it too. They overlook all the, whatever things they're doing. And also, this was told of him too. He was told that over 50% of the population in America said they are not going to take the vaccine. How do you respond to that, Dr. Fauci? He said, well, we're going to have a problem. That's what he said. We're going to have a problem. So he's going to have a problem. And if you don't do what they tell, he said that strict guidelines will be put into place, stricter guidelines. And he doesn't want to lock everybody down. That's what he said. He don't want to have to do it. If people will just obey and do what they're told, he won't lock you down. He don't want to do that. But if worse comes to worse, he will lock the whole country down. Yeah. So it's all over. It's look, we have people from other countries. This is happening in your country too. So this is a global situation that is taking place. And my body's kind of shaking on the inside. It's not easy. I promise you, it is not easy for me to get on here and say this. It isn't, because this is a big taboo. You don't talk about this. But we need to talk about this. We really do, because this is affecting all of us on a personal scale and on a humanitarian scale. We're all affected by this, okay? We are. And I'm telling you, you've got to stay strong, so very strong on the inside. You have to, in order to persevere, and you don't want to break down. You do not want to break down on the inside. Don't let that happen to you, okay? Don't do it. How do they get airtime? Well, I won't say how people get airtime. I'm not going to say how they get it. I think a lot of people know how the airtime is given to people. I do. Well, this is just to raise awareness. That's just Washington State, and I'm sure that other states will follow suit. I think my mother was telling me that the cases rose to 6,000 in one day in the state that I lived in, and I know that this state will probably also go to a lockdown just like that. And I wouldn't be surprised come Christmas time, we're really shut down. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're just tuning in, that's what's going on. And thank you for those comments, because it's good to read comments. And if you've got things going on in your country, is there anyone in here from Peru? Because my husband said something was going on in Peru also. Are they having stuff like this? I know Germany's got some further restrictions placed upon them also. Bottled water as soon as possible. I would encourage you all to get what you can get while you can get it. And you can go around to, you don't have to, listen, you don't want to deplete one store, okay? You can think strategically. If you need certain items, and you don't want to get all of those items at one store, a certain quantity, you can go to different stores and get a little of each. That way you don't deplete what's on the shelves, okay? And you still are able to get what you want. Go to different stores, get what you want, get your supplies. You may say, well, Gina, that's a lot of running around in gas. Well, I think that's the right thing to do if you would, to go to different stores so you don't deplete the shelves that are there, and you will still be able to get the necessary supplies that you need to sustain you through this lockdown that is coming. Are you going to buy a camping stone as soon as possible? Well, you know, I live in Amish territory also, and you know what the Amish do? If you have a, get this, so they got these wood stoves, old barrel stoves, old wood stoves. Of course, they have great big kitchens separate from their house that they cook in, great big old things like that. But this one Amish house had a great big wood stove, well, not really big, a wood stove out in the middle of their yard, and a big old pipe extending up into the air, and they would cook their meals on it because, you know, it was really hot. And that's a good idea, too. You can do that. Yeah. So, yeah, I got 2 more years. I got 2 more years is what I've got. So I think it was in 2018. So 2 more years. It was, who knows what's going to happen in 2 more years. I could be, I could be gone. I could be a martyr. I could be martyred. You could be martyred, or we could be out of here in a spaceship. That'd be great. We really could be out of here. Boom, beam us up, and we're gone, just like that, in the twinkling of an eye. Yeah. So while we're here, we got to make the best of it. We really do. So we can, when that day comes and it's time out for us to go, we'll be ready because we'll be so prepared on the inside. And this is no joke. I'm not joking. This is serious. What is happening is very, very serious because it's affecting us all. Wherever you are in any part of the world, it is affecting us all. A nature toilet. Where are the real men in the UK watching? I don't know what song I was dancing to. I just, on these videos, I just go to the YouTube Creator Studio and I just listen to music. And if it can resonate a tad bit with me, I'll try to dance to it. I don't even know it. I just try to just do that. Yes, all the lockdowns will beat you into submission or to push down a, yeah, you can be, it may feel like you're being oppressed and suppressed and suffocating. Some people aren't strong enough. Some people aren't strong enough to be isolated like that, especially if you're an extreme introvert. And especially if you already suffer from depression and this is done, that's hard. We need to be praying and lifting each other up for these situations. We really do. You don't want to feed into it. You don't. Don't feed into it. Yeah, it's hard for me at times too. I had to pray for motivation to get moving, to do things, because you know if you sit and dwell on what's happening in the world, it is depressing. I'm going to admit to you, it's very depressing and it sounds very bleak. But there is hope. One day our hope will arrive. Whether our body is gone here and our spirit is gone, our hope will arrive for us, for our spirits, one day. The lockdown will be short, and the masks are also to cover up the sharpie teeth of the lizard Satans, the Egyptian god of the underworld. Yeah. We are at our end of our cycle, and all wake up at the end of the cycle. Hopi have it night. Hopefully at night, pretty much. Yeah. Well, that's about it. If you're just tuning in, I read this part of this proclamation by the governor of the state of Washington, the Stay Healthy thing, and he has implemented indoor gatherings are prohibited unless you quarantine for 14 days, and or if you're going to a home that you don't live in, and or 7 days before the gathering and test negative for a COVID thing, and the restaurants are closed, the museums are closed, churches 25% occupancy, retail stores 25% occupancy, places no more than 200. Stay at home, work at home if you can, and if you violate that, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Yeah, and unless it's extended and or amended, unless this proclamation that was just issued that goes into effect on the 18th of November in Washington State, upon expiration or termination of that amendatory proclamation, the provisions that were set into 2025 will continue to be in effect until the state of emergency is lifted. So whatever the proclamation 2025 was, I can't remember because I didn't want to read it. It's too long. It's too many words. 2025, that was already. So with that being said, I am going to go, but we need to stay informed. And I hope that we can still connect here on the social media, because I don't think I've violated any community standards with this video at all. This is an informative video to inform you what's going on in your state if you live in Washington State. And if you don't, this may be coming to your state also, as well as mine and of the other countries of the world. I don't like to watch movies. Because here's the thing. Once you look at an image, it is forever embedded into your mind. Forever. You can't get it out. So I'm very careful what my eyes see and what I allow myself to listen to. I really am very careful because I don't want it embedded in my mind. I don't want that permanent thing in my mind. I've seen too much in the world as it is, and I can't handle the graphic. I might have to one day. Yeah. So with that being said, I probably am going to go. I've got a video that it's going to take a long time to upload. It's still on 47 minutes left, and I've got 41% of it uploading. It's the ever-changing clouds. You can see it right here. It's going to be uploading. I took a picture of the sky tonight, so a video of the clouds, and then I inverted it. So I've showed the regular version, and the inverted version is pretty cool, but I was excited and I was moving the camera a little too much. I didn't keep it in the same place all the time, but it is cool. I think the clouds are really very intelligent, and they're programmable things also. Well, time, go boat and stay offshore. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. What if this life is but a dream? Oh, I would not want it to be. Yeah. I am going to go, you all. My eyes are getting tired. My eyes actually don't like looking at this small screen. But thank you all for tuning in. I know the people are kind of depressed in the Washington State, and I feel sorry for them. I really do. And for anybody else who is on this lockdown, because it does hurt them. It hurts them in every single way imaginable. Yeah. Yeah, good night, everybody. I'm going to push that button, but I've got a video that's going to upload. It's probably going to take an hour since I took up the bandwidth with this video right here, and I don't care. I don't. Yes, have a wonderful rest of your evening.